Good Tuesday afternoon time, 11 Live weather impact meteorologist Melissa Nord here at 3 o'clock in the 11 Live studios, tracking areas of heavy rain, even a couple of thunderstorms today moving through North Georgia. And the threat of severe weather did increase for today. However, we're seeing some good signs in what's evolved so far this afternoon, which is helping to limit how many of these storms can tap into that available energy out there. So weather impact alert, and actually, you know what? I'm going to have to open my workspace on Max 1, Emily. I'm so sorry. I've got Max 2 open up right now with my workspace. So we're talking about the weather impact alert for this afternoon between now and about midnight tonight for storms, areas of heavy rain. So really moving forward, staying weather aware is going to be the way to go this afternoon as we track that heavy rain and thunderstorm action out there for the day today. Let's talk about what we're expecting in terms of the impacts here. We are expecting heavy rain. And that heavy rainfall threat can be 1 to 3 inches of rain. Some of the strongest wind gusts could be around 40 to as much as 60 miles per hour. And then there's a very low end chance that we could also see a brief spin up tornado this afternoon. And that's mainly going to be in this area, which is the level 2 threat of severe weather that is for kind of that southwestern corner of our area. So we're talking about for the Atlanta area, a level 1 threat and a level 2 threat for areas south of the metro area. So that's where we're looking at a level 2 threat where there's a little bit more instability in the atmosphere, number 1. And number 2, if these storms didn't have any storms ahead of them, that's fresh air that hasn't been worked over, and that's where we can see these storms turn a little bit more strong or severe. So what are the threats? Well, number 1, heavy rainfall going to be our primary threat. High risk of heavy rain for today. We've already seen some of that heavy rain unfolded. We're going to see more waves of heavy rainfall evolve over the course of the afternoon. And then especially in that level 2 area threat of severe weather, a few isolated stronger storms with damaging winds. Some of those could just be 40 to 50 miles per hour like we've already seen today, or we could see a few storms that get a severe thunderstorm warning, and those winds could be in excess of 60 miles per hour. Also, a little bit of rotation in the atmosphere these storms could tap into. So we're going to put that tornado threat at low, but not 0 for this afternoon. So by far and wide, the heavy rainfall is going to be, I think, the most widespread threat, but isolated storms today could turn strong or severe with some strong winds and even that brief spin up tornado. We don't feel, though, that hail will be in the picture this afternoon. The ingredients just don't come together for that type of setup. So storms with heavy rainfall between now and midnight. The severe weather threats really between now and about 8 o'clock. As we get past 8 o'clock, it's just a rainfall threat, but I wanted to put this alert in effect through midnight because I still think we're going to have some more heavy rain later on this evening that's working through. So just stay weather aware as we push our way through the rest of the afternoon and evening, and we'll be here breaking into programming if we need to. And of course on 11 Alive Plus streaming. That's the beauty of this streaming app, is that we don't have the restriction of TV commercials and all of that. We can give you that important information outside of whatever programming may be on normal TV. So right now on Live Radar, we've got a couple different areas of heavy rainfall working through, one of which is on the southeast side of town, specifically through Henry County, the McDonough area. We've zoomed in here so you can see, I'll actually zoom in a little bit more. This is Conyers right here, Rockdale County. This is Henry County, and it's this northwest side of Henry County down through about Atlanta Motor Speedway and then up into Conyers, where we have that really heavy rain right now, and that also stretches into southeastern Clayton County as well. So one area of rain there. Not seeing any lightning in this particular cell. That doesn't mean, though, there couldn't still be briefly more intense things happening outside your window there with how heavy the rain is. Things are going to turn more intense, and we're looking at kind of radar velocities there. I'm not seeing any really strong winds, but that's something that we also pay attention to. We'll take the radar a little further south. You can still see some of that moderate rain. Where the radar is, that right now is in Peachtree City. That's right there. You can see moderate rain stretching throughout Pike and up Lamar counties, and also that northern little part of Upson County. We'll head back into LaGrange and Meriwether County. More pockets where that rain is really, I know it's not as heavy as it may rain in the summertime, but this is some pretty good rain for December standards. So these areas are getting hit sometimes multiple times in a row by that moderate to even heavy rain. So very quickly that leads to an elevated hydroplaning risk, and can also lead to ponding water on the roadways, standing water on the roadways, and all of that. We'll go to the north and up 85 and 985, some more embedded just calm little cells there where we have heavier rain and even some gusty winds that could at times, if they intensify, get to 40 miles per hour. Some of that stretches throughout the northeast Georgia mountains, Helen over to Clarksville and Habersham County, also northern Hall County. We've got some pretty decent rain rates that are happening right now. This is right over Gainesville and Lake Lanier. This is Gainesville right here. Lake Lanier is right over in here. So some pretty decent rainfall amounts right over Lake Lanier right now. And then we'll travel a little further south, and you can also see some of that heavy rainfall from Norcross to Johns Creek in Gwinnett County and out towards Sewanee and Sugar Hill. Well, again, look at velocity on that. Maybe a couple of, moments where the wind gusts might be over 30 miles per hour, but nothing to us right now that's saying we've got severe weather unfolding at this second. But with that being said, let me zoom out and show you the setup. Okay, there's a front north and west of our area, and out ahead of that front, we've got the rain that's moving through North Georgia right now. We've got some storms trailing back in southern Alabama, and the front itself is still back up here. Okay, this is all going to be pivoting through tonight, and that front will be passing through the Atlanta area sometime after midnight tonight. But ahead of that, we're in this warm atmosphere. We call it kind of the warm sector. Things are warm, they're humid outside, and that's where we can see storms turn strong or severe. So outlook just updated from the Storm Prediction Center just moments ago. It hasn't really changed from what it was kind of 3 hours ago. They've still got this level 2 threat of severe weather south of the Atlanta area. So you can see as we zoom in here, it's through southern Clayton County, Henry County, Butts County, and also back towards Coweta and Heard, and then our southern tier of counties there. That's a level 2 threat, and this is where the atmosphere could be a little bit more primed for that bit of rotation or a stronger wind gust if things can develop the right way this afternoon. If we see just plain old light rain ahead of that storm risk, it kind of cuts down on the storm energy, what it can tap into. So we want that to happen. We don't want severe weather to happen, but if things do play out, this is where they would likely do so. Then along the I-20 corridor, this is where there's a level 1 threat of severe weather, and that does include Atlanta, top side of the perimeter. It includes Athens as well, and then out towards Carrollton in Carroll County. So that's our outlook for today. So again, we talked about heavy rain being the primary threat, and I'll show you the rain outlook from one of our models. This is the high resolution rapid refresh, which has already updated since we were last on the air here an hour ago. And this latest run actually takes the heaviest swath of rain a little bit further south. So that's taking it in through Thomaston, Macon, Georgia, Eatonton, Georgia. However, there are other models that try to bring some more of that heaviest rain a little bit further north. Regardless, we could see 1 to 2 inches on average, but isolated spots could see about 4 inches of rain. Now I'm going to show you our in-house graph model, which brings that a little bit closer into the metro. And this model, this is through really through early tomorrow morning. You can see it's got some isolated areas that are 3 to even 4 inches. So what we're seeing is because we're going to have multiple rounds of rain going over the same areas over and over again, we call that training. If you think of a train car, a whole train, it's got different train cars, right? And each of them have to pass over the same area on the train tracks over and over again. So when we talk about training storm cells, that's when we have repeated rounds of heavy rain going over the same areas over and over again. If we see that setting up, it's not just what heavy rain we get this afternoon, but what we get this evening, what we get early tonight, and that's when we can amount to over 3 inches of rain. And at that point, we start to see not just street and low-lying points on the roads getting a little bit of standing water on them, but creeks and streams start running a lot higher, and that's when we could see a low-end chance of a little bit of flooding as well. We don't feel that this is a setup with the rain coming over so many hours in a row, a large time span, that it's a huge flash flooding issue. We see more flash flooding in the summertime or during instances like Hurricane Helene when the rain just would not stop. But hopefully this will be more of a creek and stream flooding and a little bit of standing water on the roads, but not flash flooding. But that's something we watch for. So the Weather Prediction Center does these kind of flood outlooks for each day. And the flood outlook for today, you can see this yellow color through Atlanta and the entire eastern part of the state, the central part of the state has this level 2 slight risk of, we call it excessive rain or flooding. So that's where we're targeting for potential flooding because of the rounds of heavy rain. Now let me show you forecast track. And actually back this up a little bit so you can see what things look like about 30 minutes from now. And you can see we've got heavy rain over the metro. And then if we push that forecast track out a little bit further to 5, 6, 7 o'clock, we've got some of these same areas getting heavy rain over and over again. So 5 o'clock today, we'll be watching not just heavy rain in the metro, but especially that severe weather potential in central Georgia. Can they tap into a little bit of that energy in the atmosphere? If so, we could see some of these storms coming in from Alabama turn strong or severe. Meanwhile, up in North Georgia, north of I-20, we're going to be seeing heavy rain during the evening commute, or at least rain, but we don't feel that the severe weather ingredients will come together the same way. So there is a slight chance this afternoon, that level 2 risk in central Georgia of severe weather. And forecast track at 5 o'clock today tries to kind of highlight some of those storms that may try to turn strong or severe. 6:30, 7 o'clock, still watching that threat in some of our easternmost counties. But after that, it's just a rain threat for us through the overnight. And you can see here forecast track building some of that rain back in as we approach midnight tonight. This is 10:30 on forecast track. Even if we dry out in some places briefly, another push of moisture works up the front, so that'll bring more rain into North Georgia for the overnight. This is just going to be rain. I think the thunderstorms will be ongoing in central Georgia at this point, but hopefully it is just rain here in North Georgia. But you can see here at midnight tonight, more rain through the Atlanta area. 2:30, 3 o'clock, still raining in the Atlanta area. And then finally tomorrow morning after 6, we'll see that rain clearing out. And as it does so, a huge drop in the temperatures is expected. Let's talk about where we stand right now with our numbers. We're currently sitting at 66 in Atlanta. The last kind of 4 hours straight, we've been teetering between 66 and 67. That's really warm for this time of year. We average about 57 this time of year in terms of our average temperature for highs. Well, it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We're 66. It's 70 in Duluth. And it's not just warm, but it's also humid outside. And I'll show you that. Okay, here are the numbers for Atlanta. 66, this is our tower cam. 66, we call it over, meaning over the dew point. 64, dew point 64. When we look at ingredients for severe weather, having those dew points up in the mid 60s in the winter time, that's a pretty big deal. It provides, when we have the warmer air, the more moist air, it's more buoyant, okay? And we need that warm, moist air to support severe weather if we're going to see it. So it's very warm. It's very humid outside right now. Let me get if I can pull up the dew points across all of North Georgia. And this will also help us tell the story. You can see those dew points in the mid 60s. Peachtree City 65, 65 LaGrange, not as high up to the north, okay? Not quite as high up to the north, but still mid 60s in December. That is humid enough air to support some thunderstorms. So again, we talked about storms today. Let's recap the timing on that. And then I want to show you what happens tomorrow as this rain pulls out of here, because this is going to be pretty impressive how the temperatures change as we go into tomorrow afternoon. Here are the storms today working through the area through the evening commute. More rain overnight, even though we'll lose the thunderstorm aspect. Tomorrow morning, 5 o'clock, still some rain, especially east of 85. Let's push the forecast track out into 8:30 tomorrow morning. The rain's clearing out, but look at our temperatures dropping. 8:30 tomorrow morning, if you're northwest of Atlanta, it's in the 30s. 30s. You see here on forecast track at 8:30 tomorrow morning as well. See that little bit of green up in North Georgia? Right here? 35 degrees, a little bit of green. This doesn't show the precipitation type. It's possible we could have a little moisture left as those temperatures come crashing into the mid 30s in the North Georgia mountains. That might end with some flurries up in the North Georgia mountains first thing tomorrow morning. I don't think that would happen in Atlanta, but that's the type of strong cold air advection. We call that cold air advection, is how the cold air comes rushing in behind a front. That's what's going to unfold tomorrow. So tomorrow, today, I mean, it feels like summertime almost outside. 66 in Atlanta, very humid outside. Tomorrow, you got to dress for the 30s because the temperatures themselves will be in the 40s during the day tomorrow. Sunshine makes a comeback, but the wind chills will be dropping, and here's why. The wind chills will be dropping into the 30s because these strong winds. Wind gusts tomorrow morning starting to gust 20 to 30 miles per hour. Increasing into the afternoon. This is going to be one of those borderline events of whether they'll issue a wind advisory or not for the National Weather Service. I wouldn't be surprised if they do, because I think some of these wind gusts could top over 35 miles per hour. Really need those gusts to be closer to 40 to issue the wind advisory, but we'll see what they end up doing. Those winds will calm down a bit through Wednesday night and Thursday, but those wind gusts will drop the wind chills, the feels like temperatures, into the 30s for the day tomorrow. Wind chill in Atlanta, 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, 39. Remember, right now it feels like the mid and upper 60s, so that's a big difference. Okay, let's push things out to midday. Still in the mid 30s. Let's push things out to middle of the afternoon. It's going to feel 30 degrees colder than where things are right now. So much colder air moving in, even though we'll dry things out. You notice the high temperatures dropping tomorrow, 48, 50 on Thursday. Wedge building in for the weekend with a few showers possible, but that's going to hold the temperatures chilly Friday and Saturday. So I know this has been one of those Decembers where it's been largely cold, but tracking temperatures that would be a little bit warmer to start the week. But that cold is making a comeback as we look towards the start of the weekend. So again, just to recap this afternoon, we're tracking showers, tracking thunderstorms. The best chance of any of these storms becoming strong or severe, that's going to be down in West Georgia and Central Georgia, really south of I-20. We're tracking rain moving through our area right now, but some storms back to our west in Alabama. And one thing I want to point out, we're gonna wrap this up here in a couple of minutes, is that we're watching some of these storms in Alabama with some lightning, and as they moved in, they kind of lost the lightning, and we're also seeing a little bit of just general light rain out ahead of where these heavier cells are. So this kind of puts the kibosh on the severe weather chances right there. But we'll see if things can tap into that unused, unworked over atmosphere that's moving in from Alabama. So again, we're watching all of that. Level 2 threat of severe weather south and west of the Atlanta area. And we will be tracking this live for you today on 11 Alive News starting at 4 o'clock. If anything develops before then, we'll break back into 11 Alive Plus to bring you more updates there.